110 days ago, the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team was eliminated in the semifinal round of the ECAC postseason at the hands of the eventual conference champions, the Colgate Raiders. Since then, the Bobcats have seen 7 seniors graduate from the team. However, we've recently learned that 3 of them are not done yet, and they're coming back. Captain Olivia Konigson, alternate captain Renee Saltness, and Taylor House will be making their return for a graduate season. Also, 8 Bobcats are set to join the program this year, including Corrine Schroeder from Boston University and Jessica Shriver from Northeastern. With Coach Cass Turner looking to make another run at an ECAC title and an eventual NCAA tournament berth for the first time since 2016, what should we expect from the Bobcats this year? Let's find out in the QBSN Women's Ice Hockey Roundtable, which starts right now. And welcome back to the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network Women's Ice Hockey Roundtable discussion. My name is Clever Streich. I'm your host, and I am the QBSN Social Media Manager. Today we are joined by Q30 Women's Ice Hockey beat reporters Aiden, Barrett, and Gage Kilborne, along with QBSN contributor Rob Lyon. Guys, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming on the QBSN Roundtable. There's so much to discuss with this women's ice hockey team following their elimination in the ECAC semifinals to Colgate this past March. So let's just jump right into it. So coming on into this next season, we saw in March that they faced Colgate in a close 2-1 decision. It just was not enough, as the Colgate Raiders ended up going on to become the ECAC champions. They went into the NCAA postseason. So coming into the 2021-22 season, is Quinnipiac women's ice hockey trending up or trending down?
I'll start off with this one, Clever. I thought that in the last season that they had a good chance at beating Colgate in the ECAC semifinals, because they've shown that they could beat them in the last game of the regular season when they came out of nowhere and took them down pretty easily. So I thought we were going to have another one of those in a big upset, but they're going to end up losing in the ECAC championship. Now, this year, I think they're going to trend in the correct direction. That's up. They've shown some signs of prominence and of confidence growing, and they're showing like a unity this past year. And I think they're going to carry that to next season, where they'll probably improve themselves even more. And yet again, I know there'll be more teams in the ECAC since the pandemic is going to be near the end and more of the Ivy League schools will come in. But I think they'll do enough to maybe even win the ECAC tournament for the first time since 2016.
You know what? I think the talent is there, but there's a couple of new pieces. So I think the question is, how quickly can they get it to come together? You know, they're going to be a very skilled, good team this year, but how quickly can they get the new pieces in with the old pieces? If they can come together, they'll be a really good team. I mean, we saw some of the younger players like Olivia Mobley starting to get her game going towards the end of the season. You know, they got great defense with Madison Miskevich and Kendall Cooper on the back end. And it's huge that Renee Saltness and Taylor House are going to come back. You know, they're 2 of the top 4 point getters for this Quinnipiac Bobcats team. And they got a really good situation in net this year. So if they can get things to come together, you know, they should be a really good team this year.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, Aiden, because to have veteran players that have been through it all, like House and Saltness, even Konigson returning as well, you're going to have a very good Bobcat team with a lot of old faces and new faces coming into the program, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go all the way later in the season.
I do think that this team is trending up this year, and covering this team, you saw the potential when they faced off against Colgate in the last month of ECAC play. They got a win 5-3 over them at one point in March, and they ended up getting into the top 10 polls. There's nothing but up for this team, even though they are facing a bigger conference, all 12 teams instead of just 3. It's going to be much harder, but the road is there for them to make the ECAC postseason again. Now let's get into one of the bigger topics of this roundtable. Captains Olivia Konigson, alternate captain Renee Saltness, and Taylor House are coming back for a graduate season. Now that they are returning to the lineup, how is this going to affect the Bobcats next year?
You know what, Clever? It's huge because, like I just said, 2 of the top 4 players, House and Saltness, are returning. You know, those are 2 top 6 roles that you no longer need to fill. And they thought they were going to have to fill them. So now that you have those 2 more top 6 roles, there's 2 more roles that you don't have to fill. Now you can just add and sprinkle in these new pieces I mean, they still lost some players, but I mean, you can add in some of these new pieces that they added into that top 6 role, and they're just going to make them more dangerous. So, I think it's huge they come back. And Konigson, she's a captain, so obviously she's good in the locker room. So, it's really, I think, very helpful that these 3 players are coming back, and really great news for Quinnipiac.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one too, Aiden. To have Konigson back, she's going to have a lot to prove on her table because she only played I believe 7 games last season. She was out most of the season due to an injury. And to have her back, she's going to have a second opportunity once again as captain to prove herself that she wants to go out strong and have a better season.
I say this is not like a big thing. This is a huge thing because you have three of your seniors decide to stay for another year. They can help out the 8 incoming first years. And show them the rope, show them how Bobcat hockey is supposed to be played. And I think that you have 2 of the top point getters that are returning. They can do a great job of showing their veteran skills to some of these young upcoming first-year students and towards probably guiding their way. And that's why I knew Aiden, he was a little bit questioning this team when we were talking about the upward and downward part. I think there's a reason why they're going to be in the upward trend because they have the veterans that are able to help teach and guide the young first-year students. So that way, when they leave next year, then the first years will know what they're doing by their sophomore year.
Up next, we have to talk about the 8 Bobcats that will be joining the team in the 2021-22 season. Let's start out with the class of 2025. We have 6 first-years coming on in. First up, Veronica Bach, Huntley, Illinois. She's a forward, previously played with the Chicago Mission. Next, we have Kate Helgenson, who is a Roseau, Minnesota forward out of Roseau High School. Maya Labad, who is one of the more significant standouts in this group. She played on Team Canada Under-18 in Slovakia in 2020. Mia Lapata, who is a Clinton, New York defenseman. She played previously at Syracuse Valley. Mallory Moricher, who played previously with the Pittsburgh Penguins Elite out of Dublin, Ohio. And finally, N. Frederick Nod for the first years. She also played with John Abbott's College and was a teammate of Maya Labad in the Team Canada Under-18 team. And now we get into our 2 transfers to Quinnipiac this year. Jessica Shriver, the class of 2023, she'll be joining. She comes out of Northeastern University. She previously played with them in 2019-20 before taking a season off for the coronavirus pandemic. And then in 2022's class, we've got Corrine Schroeder, the graduate goaltender out of Boston University, who previously also played on Team Canada Under-18. So guys, with that long list of players out there, which player do you think jumps out to you the most out of that list as a player that can make an impact next year?
There's a lot of good players coming into Quinnipiac this year, but I think that jumps to the top of the page to me is Anne Frederick Nod. Okay, she played on the World Junior team in Canada, won a silver medal, was actually teammates with Kendall Cooper on that team, and then she played for the John Cabot College, and she was the leading point getter there. She had 26 points in 22 games. And she already has some experience. So, she's going to come over here, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's a top 6 role and a top power play role on this team. She's an elite player. She can do it all. She can score, and she can pass. She can do it all. She's a great player, and I think she's going to be really helpful to this Quinnipiac Bobcat team.
Yeah, I'm looking more in the United States side of this, Aiden. I'm looking actually more closer to my home. Mia Lapata from Clinton, New York. She just fits Cass Turner's playing style to a T. There's nothing she can't do. She's one of the most offensive defensemen in her school last year, as she led her team in scoring with goals and with assists. As a defenseman, it's really hard to you rarely see that as a defenseman, but she's able to do it. I think she'll fit well with Maddie Samoskevich, and she'll help out Taylor House and Renee Saltness in the front forward position to find openings and to be able to bring in some more goals for them to come away with some big wins.
I say the biggest one I have to pick, Corrine Schroeder, coming from Boston University, because you need a third goalie for your team. You need that backup goalie. And since she's coming to Quinnipiac as a grad student, she's going to be a big contributor along with Logan Andrews and Katie Boudier behind the goal net.
I personally want to say Jessica Shriver might be a little bit of a dark horse out of this class. I know we've talked about Corrine Schroeder and Nod and other players, but Jess Shriver comes out of Northeastern University, and Northeastern University is a number 2 ranked team. They are among the best in all of NCAA women's hockey, so to have a player out of that program come over to here in order to fill a void that was left by Kenzie Hausworth when she transferred over to Ohio State University this past season. So I believe that with her production, I think that Jess Shriver could definitely fit in as a top 6 forward in Cass Turner's system. She's going to be a great point scorer, and she could be one of the best offensive contributors on this team next year. So up next, let's discuss the battle between the pipes. We've got a couple of different goaltenders in this goalie room. So far, Corrine Schroeder, a graduate transfer from Boston University, has joined the roster for the 2021-22 season. She will join Logan Andrews, Katie Boudier, and Allie Kelly, making 4 goaltenders on the Quinnipiac women's ice hockey roster. So guys, with this many goalies, I have to ask, whose net is it? Which goalie will Cass Turner rely on the most this season?
To answer your question, Clever, I'm going to have to go with Logan Andrews because I feel that Cass Turner is going to trust her the most in big game deficits like this, whether if the team's leading or whether if it's a tie game. You want Logan Andrews right in the goal net.
Cass is very fortunate. She has an ample amount of options in net this year. I think all 3 have the ability to be the starter of this Quinnipiac Bobcats team. And you know what? I really don't think there's a wrong answer, but I do think there's a right answer. I'm just going to read up these numbers real quick. 2017, 2018, 25 games played, 251 goals against average, 913 save percentage. 2019, 32 games played, 19 goals against average, and a 933 save percentage. In 2020, a 154 goals against average in 26 games played and 943 save percentage. Last year, 8 games played, 223 goals against average, and a 911 save percentage. That was all at Boston University. That is the numbers of Corrine Schroeder, okay? She knows how to play in these big games. She got a shutout at the Bean Pot. She's going to be a huge key to this Bobcats team. I think, you know what, maybe it lights a fire under Logan Andrews that Cass brought her in here, like such a high-end goaltender who played the elite of elite levels for her age group. So I think that, she's going to be the starter because I don't think she was brought in here to, just sit on the bench. I think she's going to come in here and she's going to make that goalie room just that much better. And it's just they're all going to bring out the best of each other because now there's so much competition, bringing in Schroeder, Andrews, and Boudier played really well. She played her 6 games last year and she stopped every single shot she faced. So she's still looking to give up her first college goal. So it's just a really great situation for the Bobcats this year.
Yeah, Aiden, I'm going to agree with you here. It has to be Corrine Schroeder because I think that it's like you mentioned. I mentioned the numbers. She pretty much played in a tough conference. The Hockey East is not an easy conference to play in. You have Boston College, Boston University, all these big name schools that are really good in ice hockey. She went through and she produced numbers like those, so she knows what she's doing. And I think it will not only start a fire for Logan Andrews to try to improve herself this offseason, but she will also be there to teach Katie Boudier because she's going to be the future of this program. And I know Cass Turner's going to be she knows that the offense is there, but she wants the defense to be there too. And the goaltending is a little bit weak last season. We saw Logan Andrews have some struggle at some points between the pipes, but other points we saw Katie Boudier show off her skills, and having Corrine Schroeder in there will do a great job of showing her the rules and how to get it all done.
I think it's a great situation for the Bobcats to having both Corrine Schroeder, Logan Andrews, and also Katie Boudier and Allie Kelly in that goaltender's room. To really pinpoint one starter is kind of hard in this situation because Logan Andrews was the starter last year. She was named to the National Goaltender of the Year award watch list, went 6-6 on 12 starts. So not a bad year for Logan Andrews, but we also saw Katie Boudier get some great playing time, a good performance in a couple of games where she had shutouts. She hasn't lost a game yet, or as Aiden mentioned, even let in a collegiate goal. So, the competition will be fierce here, but by adding in Corrine Schroeder, you also have another National Goaltender of the Year award watch list in that goalie room. So now you have 2 of them, Andrews and Schroeder. So that's a great situation to have. And, I don't know if you guys realize how much Corrine Schroeder means to this Boston University program, but she might be in the conversation for one of the best goaltenders that they've ever had in their entire program history. She finished her Boston University career with a 1.98 goals against average and a .929 save percentage, both of which set the program record for career out of all goaltenders that have ever come out of Boston University. And this is a great situation for the Bobcats to have.
Yeah, it is a great situation because you know what? If you're not playing well, you're not going to play. And all three goalies are very competitive. They all want to play, so they're all going to bring out the best of each other. I think we're going to get really strong play in between the pipes this year. And you know what? If one's not playing well, you got two others. So I think it's really a good situation for the Bobcats to have, and it should be an exciting and maybe a hot topic throughout the year.
All right, let's move into our next topic, and we're going to be talking about a Bobcat breakout. With so many young and talented players on this roster this year, which player is going to have the best breakout season next year, taking their game to the next level, in your opinion?
You know what? I felt this was the toughest question because you had so many players who played really well at a young age. You saw Renee Saltness, Kendall Cooper, play big minutes as the year went on. But I'm going to go on the offense, just completely on offense. I'm going to go Olivia Mobley. This is former Miss Minnesota. She had 25 goals, 27 assists, 52 points at her high school, and won the Miss Minnesota award. Okay, she had 2 goals, 6 assists in 14 games. It was a bit of a slow start, but you know what? You saw her when she got her goal, how excited she was, and it seemed like she kind of turned it on to the next level. Even though she only finished out with 2 goals and 8 points, I think you could see a huge sophomore boom out of Olivia Mobley.
I'm looking forward for Maddie Samuskevich to improve a lot too, especially coming off of a 14-game stretch with how many games that she played. I really think that she's really going to explode coming out next season because if you look at the stats from a year ago, she only had 1 goal the entire season, 7 assists, and 8 points. And next year, as a rise young sophomore, she will do great.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different. I'm more geared towards Alexa Hoskin. And I know her numbers don't really prove it last season when she only had 2 goals and 5 assists, totaling 7 points throughout the season. But in her junior year, I feel like she's due. I think Cass Turner's going to put her on a really strong offensive line, probably the second line or first forward line. But I think with the amount of talent that she's going to be around, you're going to see her numbers start to move up. Maybe she'll have 10 assists, at least 10 assists, double figures for assists for sure.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of excitement in the air for this Bobcats team, but another player that you guys haven't mentioned yet, Kendall Cooper. Kendall Cooper was named to the ECAC All-Rookie team. She had an amazing first season with the Bobcats. She had a season of 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points through 14 games, and also 2 of her teammates from the under-18 Canadian team that went on to Slovakia to win a silver medal are coming into Quinnipiac this year, in Anne Frederick Nod and Maya Labad. So you see a little bit of chemistry here, and I think that Kendall Cooper is primed to take a step forward, and I think that, she will be a big part of that defensive core moving forward. Kendall Cooper, Maddie Samuskevich, they're all going to take big steps forward, and they're also only sophomores, so there's plenty of time for them to develop as players as well. Well, that will do it for the Women's Ice Hockey Roundtable discussion. Thank you so much to Rob, Gage, and Aiden for coming on in and talking women's ice hockey with me today. And we're not done yet at QBSN because we've got one more roundtable on tap for this summer. It's the Men's Ice Hockey Roundtable set to be hosted by Jack Main. That's coming out next week, but in the meantime, be sure to check out more content from QBSN by visiting our website and following us on social media. Visit our website, theqbsn.com, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at QBSN. My name is Clever Streich. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for the Men's Ice Hockey Roundtable.